Welcome to You're Cordially Invited, the show that brings you candid and informal interviews with some of the best wedding and event professionals in the Washington, D.C. metro area. I hope that you enjoy this segment, and I hope that the professionals that we present to you, that you will one day take them on your journey to your social affair. Owner of Perfect Planning Events and creator of You're Cordially Invited. Today, I bring to you the owners of Tasteful Affairs, and we hope that today that we're going to tantalize your taste buds with what they have to offer today. Welcome. How are you?
I'm great.
I'll move over here beside you.
Okay.
We have here today Miss Linda Harkness. She is the chef and owner, executive chef and owner of Tasteful Affairs. And then we have Mr. Jin Lee. He's also the executive chef of Tasteful Affairs. So what do we have here today? What are you going to create for us?
What we have decided to create for today's meal is one of the most popular fish that we're finding on the tables, Chilean sea bass and fresh halibut. It will be served with a fresh basil polenta with a tomato sauce and a gazpacho. Jin? He's going to start by preparing the fish and getting ready for it to saute. We're going to put fresh lemon and fresh lime zest on the fish. What we like to do at Tasteful Affairs is use all the freshest ingredients that we can. Okay, now we're going to zest the lime. And after that, he's going to put salt and pepper, a little bit of garlic, and then put it in the saute pan.
That looks wonderful.
Thank you.
You know I'm not a seafood eater, right?
Yes, we do know
Okay.
that.
Well, I hope this is going to be very delicious for me to taste, because this will be my first time tasting any type of seafood.
And perhaps we will have a fan after all.
So, Linda, how did you get started in the catering business?
You know, I kind of fell into it. My first husband worked in the music business.
Okay.
And they started a new club in Georgetown called the Bayou Nightclub, and they needed backstage catering. And he said, would you like to do some catering for the stars? And I said, absolutely. So I started doing all of their catering, moved into doing catering for Wolf Trap and for the 930 Club. So we did all kinds of wonderful shows and venues and backstage work, which was great.
Well, I must say that your food is fabulous, because I've tasted it quite a few times.
Thank you.
You have a unique story about a celebrity that tasted your food. Can you kind of enlighten the audience about that?
Well, this was just a couple of years ago that I got my start, and the performer that was playing at the Bayou was none other than Bruce Springstein, which I think a lot of us know came on to be a very big star, and he was my first client.
Okay, okay.
So
what are we moving into next here with our Chilean sea bass?
Okay, Jin is going to pan-sear the sea bass, and then his next step will be preparing the polenta, which he has already started. What we do with the polenta is he's put, we've got heavy cream, water, butter, and you know butter always makes good. Polenta goes relatively quickly. We are using a quick cooking polenta. There are polentas that take a lot longer, but for this show we're going to use this polenta that goes just a little bit quicker. In the meantime, he's going to take some fresh basil, and he will julienne the basil, and once he puts the polenta in the pot and starts to cook it, he'll incorporate the fresh basil, which will infuse that wonderful fresh basil flavor into the polenta.
I can smell it already.
Yeah, doesn't it smell wonderful?
And what types of events did you cater for?
You know, we started out in the music business, and then we've branched out into what we call corporate events. We do private events, you know, birthday parties, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, just about any event that requires someone to come in, bring the food, set it up, serve it, clean it, set up bartenders. We are full service, so we do tables and chairs and linens and flowers and all kinds of whatever the client requires.
Is there a favorite location that you've worked at?
You know, for weddings and events such as a wedding, I happen to love Harborview in Woodbridge.
Oh, okay. That's one of my favorite locations too.
Yeah, it's on the water, and it's tucked away, and it's just a wonderful spot. Another is River Farm. It's a National Horticultural Society headquarters in Alexandria, and that's on the water, and it's another beautiful spot. So if it has water and gardens, I love it. And people's homes. I mean, we go into so many homes that are just gorgeous, and we help with the flow and set up.
And how long does it take for this Chilean sea bass to cook here?
Generally speaking, I would say maybe about 4 minutes aside. Some people like it well done. Some people like it medium. So it depends on your taste.
And for someone that is not a seafood eater, how do you know if this is done? What is the color that this will ultimately be?
You know, when it's translucent, it's not done all the way, but I would say more opaque. Is that right, Jin? It's cooked all the way. And there's a real fine line, because if you overcook it, it's going to get dry, and it's going to lose a lot of that tender moistness.
So when a client comes to you, they come to your location, how do you get them to know about the flavors and the taste of your foods? How do they get a chance to enjoy it?
Well, what we will do for clients is we will offer a tasting. And I think if they've been to an event of ours, what they're tasting is what that client chose for their event. But they have their own events and their own personal tastes and their own guests. And so what we will do is we'll create a menu together, and then we will select items from the menu. And we'll bring it to them, and then they get to taste and to try and to see, you know, what they like.
So you go into their home and do the tasting with them?
We do. We are expanding, and we are going to develop a tasting room soon. That is coming soon in the next few months. But I have found, particularly with wedding clients, there's so much involved in the planning process that if we can make it just one step easier and bring it to them, they're relaxed. And a wedding client said to me recently, she said, you know, when you come into my home, you get a sense of who I am. Said that exactly. I get to know, you know, what their surroundings are like, and then that will give me a sense of how to present them at their wedding.
One of the great things that I like about using catering companies is the fact that you have the flexibility and the creativity with the foods, whereas if you go to a set establishment that has their own inside catering on staff, that there's a set menu and you have to choose that set menu. Whereas in working with you, you can be able to explore a little bit more.
Right.
So I do notice that you do not have a set menu. You allow your clients to kind of create menus for themselves. So how does that work whenever you're talking with them and trying to figure out what it is that's going to exactly be on the menu?
Well, what we usually do is we have several menu items. We have an appetizer menu, and I think it's about 12 pages long. And so we send that off, and we request that the client pick and choose a few things that they like. And then I fill in if needed. So that sort of gives me a sense of what they want. Oftentimes clients will say, well, you know, our family is from, you know, Italy, and these are some of the dishes that we really love to offer. And so I'll work with the client, get recipes from grandmother, or we can create recipes together, and then sometimes we'll create a theme that is in keeping with what they do on their own family table.
So you have a wide spectrum as far as the types of food that you can do, from anything from Italian to some ethnic foods.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Jen, that looks a little good over there. I hope it's going to taste very scrumptious, because this will be my first time tasting seafood, everyone.
Yes, it will. Our next step is that what we do is all of our sauces are fresh, and this is a gazpacho sauce. Now, most of us know gazpacho as a soup, but this is a sauce that we put on fish and other dishes. Jen's going to put in fresh cucumber, green pepper, Italian parsley, a little bit of scallion, cilantro. This is a lemon and lime juice and fresh garlic. And then to bump it up a little bit, he needs a little salt and pepper. And so that we can come up with a sauce, we add a little bit of red wine vinegar. Sometimes we'll do a sherry vinegar. Kind of depends on what we're doing. And then some olive oil. And that gives us that smooth consistency. And this is I can't talk. Sorry. This is a wonderful fresh sauce, and it brings out all the flavors of the fish. It's really beautiful.
And how fine do you get the gazpacho?
Well, this is the finished sauce.
Product. Okay.
So what he will do is, when we plate up the fish that Tara has been so courageously offered to try, he'll put the sauce on it.
So this is almost like a pesto. You get it as fine as like a pesto almost?
Yeah,
okay.
It is, absolutely.
And then what are some of the trends that you're seeing in food now as far as for social events and for weddings, as far as like setup? Are you seeing more of a plated service, buffet, stations? What is it that you're seeing that is a common trend?
You know, I would say more often it's buffet with past hors d'oeuvres. Mm-hmm. However, a lot of people are more traditional. They want their guests to be served, to be seated. And then, of course, we'll do plated. I like the buffet because, to me, if you go to a market, you know, the farmers markets are everywhere, and you see all the beautiful foods and the displays of vegetables. And to me, a buffet is like that. It's just this bounty that you can put on this table, and then your guests can select what they want. And you know, kind of, they can play a little bit. Mm-hmm. At the buffet table, whereas with plated they can't, but we still, I mean, this would be considered a plated entree. Okay. And they're beautiful too.
So how much is too much food that can be incorporated onto a buffet? What's the limit that you stop clients at to say this is enough entrees that you will be serving your guests?
You know, it will vary with the number of guests. Mm-hmm. I would say generally 3 entrees. Okay. You know, you always want a protein, so it could be beef, it could be chicken. Fish is wonderful, and then there are a lot of vegetarians now. So I do encourage people to offer vegetarian dishes for those guests that they might not even know.
And is that something with the vegetarian dishes, is this something that they need to provide to you in advance, or is this something that can be provided on the spot? Are you basically providing the vegetables or whatever that are incorporated into the menu already?
You know, it's a little bit, if it's a plated dinner, oftentimes we will bring some vegetarian options, mm-hmm. just in case people didn't know. Okay. But I usually suggest on your RSVP cards to put, you know, vegetarian options available. Okay. And then we know. When it's a buffet, yeah, we'll just incorporate something that's a little more entree driven as opposed to just like a grilled vegetable medley or something.
Well, this is starting to look beautiful. I'm getting nervous.
I know.
I'm getting nervous. I'm getting nervous.
No, don't get nervous. Okay, now this is something, you can't eat this. I'm not going to let you eat this. This is a black cherry pepper that we discovered recently, and it's just gorgeous. And so, you know, with every plate, these are a little big, but generally, you know, we want to make sure that we garnish.
Okay.
And make it
look beautiful.
Absolutely. So let's see, which one? I would say, is this the halibut? And are they both halibut?
It's both halibut.
Okay, I want you to try the halibut.
So we have our final presentation here. This looks yummy. Actually, you know what? Since this is my first time tasting seafood, this piece right here looks a little skinnier. So, so that I'm not taking a big lump in my mouth.
Okay.
Okay, here we go, everybody. First time tasting seafood.
You're going to make sure you have a little bit of the gazpacho.
Okay, the gazpacho. Oh, Lord, let me cut this a little bit smaller here.
Do we have a convert or what?
It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, put a little bit of that green on the next piece. Yeah.
I can't complain.
Good.
I see what I've been missing out on. Even better.
That's good, isn't that?
Yes,
that
yes.
sauce brightens it up, kind of mellows out the flavors. Yeah.
So, I'll stop eating here. So if a client comes to you, what would you call this dish for them?
This is a creamy polenta with fresh basil, laced with a tomato sauce, and then on top of it is our lemon lime halibut pan-seared with a gazpacho sauce.
And the polenta, is that considered a starch?
It is.
Okay, that's a great alternative, I do believe, because most of the time at events, it's usually some type of blended rice or some type of potatoes. You want to kind of offer your guests something a little different.
Right.
Besides the polenta, what are some other things that you can think of as far as like side dishes that would enhance?
For a starch, we use a lot of bulgur wheat.
Okay.
There are different grades of bulgur wheat. Some are very thick grains, some are finer grains. You use bulgur wheat in a lot of Mediterranean cooking. One of our dishes that I find very interesting that people love is a stuffed chicken breast, and we stuff it with bulgur wheat, fresh spinach, peppers, onions, a little cream, Parmesan cheese, and then we make a sage cream, and people love it. And it's really traditional, but the bulgur wheat, I think, makes it a little different than just a bread stuffing.
And then what about as far as vegetables are concerned?
You know, the rainbow Swiss chard is just beautiful. And I know we did a wedding about a year ago at Harborview with Tara. And we did this medley of vegetables. I mean, we had collard greens, and we had carrots, and we had Brussels sprouts, and red onion rings, and all kinds of broccoli. And it was gorgeous. And everybody loved it. Everybody had a little of something to enjoy. And
that's kind of like a little southern flair with the collard greens, and then it also adds color. I'm all about having color on the plate to kind of make things interesting and make people want to eat it. And now I think you've turned me on to some seafood there.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, I do thank you for joining us today, and I hope that you all have enjoyed Linda and Jen of Tasteful Affairs. And before we go, Linda, how can people find you? What's your website? Phone number? We want people to call you. We want the phones to be ringing off the hook.
Absolutely. Well, the phones are ringing off the hook. I can hear them right now. It's www.tastefullaffairscatering.com. No, I got that wrong.
You got that. It is www.tastefullaffairs.com. And your phone number?
703-354-3157. We'd love to hear from you.
And there you have it. And thank you for joining us today on You're Cordially Invited. Bon appetit, and we hope that you will come back and join us again.